Impact of climate on the world. One of the main issues the world is now experiencing is climate change. It is to blame for both the rise in extreme weather occurrences and the continuous run of the warmest years ever recorded. Indeed, over the past 10 years, the World Economic Global Risks Report has consistently included environmental issues and the threat posed by climate change. There is evidence of climate change. It has altered in the past, is altering now, and will alter in the future. There is constant upheaval and instability in the atmosphere, which causes variations in the weather and climate. Climate change is therefore defined as the variation and shifts in weather conditions across time and space of varying magnitudes and scales that lead to changes in the kind of climate. For instance, shifting from a warm, humid climate to one that is warm and dry. The type of causative factor determines how quickly climate changes. This might happen locally, regionally, or globally, gradually or quickly, partially or dramatically, and over a short or long period of time. Rapid and dramatic changes in the climate during the Jurassic period caused the mass extinction of dinosaurs because of the abrupt introduction of a cold climate. Climate change's effects. In addition to increased frequency and severity of heat waves, rising global temperatures also bring about changes in the weather and climate, such as variations in rainfall that lead to an increase in floods, droughts, or heavy rains. Sea levels are increasing as a result of seas evaporating on the Earth. Our culture and the ecosystem are facing enormous challenges as these changes become more noticeable in the ensuing decades. Elevated temperature. The Earth is getting warmer due to greenhouse gas emissions from power plants, cars, deforestation, and other factors. In actuality, the 10 hottest years since 1990, including the warmest years ever recorded 2005 and 2010, have all happened after 1997, as have the 5 hottest years on record. Rising sea levels, stronger storms, a rise in heat-related illnesses and mortality, and a host of other hazardous effects of climate change are all caused by rising temperatures. The average temperature of Earth has risen by 1 degree Fahrenheit in the 20th century, reaching its highest point in the previous 4 centuries and possibly the quickest rise in a millennium. According to research, average surface temperatures might rise by 3 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of the century if emissions of heat-trapping carbon emissions aren't decreased. Shifting terrain. Globally, trees and plants are shifting toward the polar regions and up mountain slopes due to rising temperatures and shifting patterns of precipitation and snowfall. Many of the accomplishments made by the conservation community thus far will be impacted by these vegetation alterations, which have the power to irreversibly alter the landscapes of national parks, municipal land trusts, and conservancy preserves. Animals that depend on plant communities will have to relocate in order to live as plant communities attempt to adjust to the changing climate by relocating toward cooler locations. Much of our beloved wildfires may be at jeopardy if some species and populations, including polar bears and alpine meadows, are left without any suitable habitat. Wildlife and ecosystems in peril. Globally, rising temperatures are altering flora and weather patterns, driving certain animal species to relocate to new, colder regions in order to live. Many species' capacity to move or adapt is probably going to be outpaced by the rate at which the climate is changing. According to experts, if the warming trend keeps up its current pace, 25% of Earth's species might go extinct by 2050. The heat is already being felt by many animals. The last golden toad in Central America died in 1999, which was the first known instance of a species extinction caused by climate change. Polar bears might become extinct from the Earth in as soon as 100 years due to diminishing Arctic ice. More coral reefs in the tropics are bleaching as a result of rising water temperatures because the heat destroys colorful algae, which is essential to the health and survival of coral. Sea level rise and ocean acidification. Sea levels increase as a result of thermal expansion, the process by which warmer water expands to occupy a greater area than cooler water as the Earth warms. By adding to the amount of fresh water entering the oceans, melting glaciers exacerbate the issue. Rising sea levels endanger densely populated coastal areas, islands, and low-lying locations. They also erode shorelines, cause property damage, and wipe out ecosystems that shield beaches from storms, such wetlands and mangroves. In the last century, there has been an increase in sea levels of 4 to 8 inches. According to current estimates, sea levels might increase an additional 4 to 36 inches throughout the course of the next 100 years. The ocean is absorbing more carbon dioxide CO2 due to the atmosphere's rising concentration of CO2, which lowers the ocean's pH and increases its acidity. Many marine organisms, such as plankton, molluscs, and various shellfish, would suffer from an increasingly acidic environment. Because it is difficult for them to develop and maintain the skeletal structures necessary for their support and protection, corals in particular can be particularly susceptible to increased acidity. Enhanced danger of fire, floods, and drought. Drought is a common result of rising temperatures because they cause more moisture to drain from water and land. Drought-affected areas are more susceptible to floods once it rains. Droughts will become more often and severe as global temperatures increase, potentially having catastrophic effects on human health, water availability, and agriculture. In certain regions of Asia and Africa, where droughts are growing longer and more severe, this phenomena has already been noted. The probability of forest fires is also increased by hot, dry weather. Storm intensity and storm damage increases. According to scientific studies, hurricanes and tropical storms will become more powerful due to climate change. This means that they will persist longer, produce greater winds, and harm coastal towns and ecosystems more severely. Since warm water is the source of energy for hurricanes and tropical storms, rising ocean temperatures are the primary cause. Storms will have greater energy when they form due to rising sea surface temperatures. However, additional elements like increasing sea levels, diminishing wetlands, and growing coastal development pose a potential to exacerbate the harm that tropical storms and hurricanes inflict. Diseases and illnesses. The most vulnerable human groups are more likely to suffer from heat-related illnesses or possibly pass away when temperatures rise. Scientists warn of more to come and have connected the fatal heat waves to climate change. For instance, severe heat waves in 2003 claimed almost 20,000 lives in Europe. Because rising temperatures enable disease-carrying insects, animals, and bacteria to live in locations where they were previously prevented by cold weather, climate change has increased the spread of infectious illnesses. In new places that were previously too cold for them to survive, diseases and pests that were previously restricted to the tropics, like malaria-carrying mosquitoes, may discover friendly circumstances. According to estimates from the World Health Organization (WHO), climate change may have contributed to over 150,000 deaths in 2000 alone, and more deaths are probably to come. Financial losses. Research indicates that the yearly global gross domestic product might be negatively impacted by climate change by 5 to 20% if action is not done to reduce carbon emissions. In contrast, reducing the most detrimental consequences of climate change would need 1% of GDP. Lake levels may drop dramatically as a result of climate change, changing the ecosystems along the coast and requiring millions of dollars to relocate ports and shore infrastructure. Increased intensity of storms and downpours might result in billion-dollar property and infrastructure damage worldwide. Hundreds of thousands of people might be at risk of starving as a result of declining crop yields brought on by extended drought and hot heat, particularly in Africa. The survival of coral reefs, which provide an estimated $375 billion in products and services annually, is likewise threatened by high water temperatures. Productivity in agriculture and food security. Crop development is primarily influenced by temperature, precipitation, and sun radiation, hence climatic trends and fluctuations have always played a significant role in agriculture. Since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, people have been altering the climate on a worldwide scale by releasing massive amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, which raises temperatures, modifies hydrological cycles, and increases climatic unpredictability. It is predicted that climate change will have a major effect on food security, supply, and agricultural practices. These implications include a change in climatic and agricultural zones towards the poles, as well as ecological, economic, and biophysical effects. Patterns of production changing as a result of rising temperatures. A rise in agricultural output brought on by the atmosphere's rising carbon dioxide content. Modifying the patterns of precipitation. Increased susceptibility of the impoverished and landless.